Our movie begins at the South Pole, where Superman suddenly falls after a tough battle. He had tried to stop a military occupation by a country called Borovia against another country called Jormber. Beaten and unable to move, he whistles for his dog, who immediately comes to him. We learn the dog's name is Krypto. Superman asks him to take him home, and Krypto pulls him toward a house that emerges from underground known as the Fortress of Solitude. It only opens with Superman's presence. The door unlocks, and they enter. Inside, robots rush to help Superman, lifting him up to treat his injuries. They also play a message from his biological parents on the planet Krypton. The message is from his father and mother, telling him how much they love him and that they sent him to Earth to save him from the fate that destroyed their planet. He is their only hope. But suddenly the message cuts off, and we learn that the rest of it was lost on its way to Earth. The robots detect broken bones and multiple injuries. They expose him to sunlight to heal, and we learn that Superman gains his energy from the sun, which can quickly restore him. He begins to recover, but the robots tell him he's only partially healed and should rest. He refuses, saying he must return to the battle, and he flies off toward the fight. Meanwhile, we see a mutated human named Angela searching for Superman, but she can't find him. Suddenly, she spots him flying and informs her leader that he has returned to the fight. Then we see a strange creature called Hammer of Borovia, destroying the city. He's the one who fought Superman earlier and defeated him. We then move to a man named Luthor, who hates Superman and created Hammer specifically to destroy him. Superman arrives and battles Hammer again. We notice Luthor controlling Hammer by sending codes that guide his attacks. Hammer dominates Superman and throws him with massive force to the ground. We learn that Luthor spent years studying Superman's movements until he created Hammer, a weapon programmed to predict Superman's every move and defeat him with ease. Back on the ground, a man tries to help Superman, saying that Superman has helped them many times before, and now it's their turn to help him. Superman struggles to fly back into battle, but can't. Everyone feels sympathy for him. Luthor identifies the man who helped Superman. His name is Malik. Meanwhile, Angela reports that she found the Fortress of Solitude, but it vanished underground. Luthor tells her to return. Hammer then arrives at a military base and enters a portal that transports him back to Luthor's headquarters. Everyone welcomes him and celebrates his return. The next day, we see Clark, Superman's human identity, heading to work. We learn he's a journalist. As he enters the office, he notices a colleague reading his article about Hammer and the destruction he caused. Clark wrote the article after the battle. Soon after, he gets a call from his adoptive parents congratulating him because the article went viral. He then meets his girlfriend Lois, who begins asking about Hammer and the damage caused. Their friend Jimmy adds that the financial losses exceeded millions. On television, the president of Borovia appears, furious that his country, once on good terms with America, was interfered with by Superman during their invasion of Jormber. Meanwhile, Luthor gathers top officials and presents his super army, Hammer, Angela, and a group of robots called Raptors. He tries to convince them to invest and tarnish Superman's image, claiming that Superman is a global threat. The officials argue that Superman has saved humanity countless times and is loved by many. Despite this, Luthor insists that Superman is dangerous. Back to Lois. When she gets home, she finds Clark there. They talk more about Hammer and the destruction. Clark asks her to do a recorded interview to share with the public. She agrees and starts questioning the current media attacks against him. She tells him that his actions led the U.S. Secretary of Defense to investigate Borovia. Clark responds that he went to Jormber during the invasion and stopped the war with no casualties. He even threatened Boravia's president, warning that if he tried to invade again, he would end him and his army. Clark adds that he believes Boravia's government has bad intentions. Lois asks if he got permission to enter their airspace, and Clark replies that he did not. He acted because lives were in danger. She tells him his actions caused public backlash, with people questioning if he really belongs here as a space alien. Clark becomes upset, saying he does not care what people think. Saving lives is what matters. He calms down and explains that his parents sent him here as a baby after their planet was destroyed, so he could grow up and help Earth become a better place. He is trying to fulfill that mission. Lois responds that many people believe he is here to conquer, not protect humanity. Clark becomes angry and ends the interview. Lois is upset and says she cannot continue their relationship. Clark leaves, heartbroken. Meanwhile, Luthor and his team arrive at the South Pole to enter the fortress and find any evidence that could ruin Superman's reputation. Strangely, when Luthor approaches, the fortress appears and the door opens easily. They storm the place and destroy everything inside. Suddenly, Krypto the dog attacks Angela, but she overpowers him and covers his face with a substance from her body. Luthor orders Angela to hack the device that contains Superman's parent message. She uses her body material to do it. The message appears again. Angela repairs the broken section and eventually restores the full message. Now Luthor has it. Back in the city, we see Luthor's men carrying a box with a small creature. Luthor tells them to release it in the city to distract Superman while he raids the fortress and takes what he wants. They follow his orders. The next day, the creature has grown enormous and begins attacking the city. Superman arrives just in time to save a dog before it is crushed. He attacks the creature with all his strength, but it is far stronger than him and can even breathe fire, burning everything in its path. Superman flies high into the sky and comes down with a powerful strike, but it has little effect. He continues focusing on saving as many people as possible. Suddenly, a group of superheroes appear. They are called the Justice League, and the team consists of 3 heroes: Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, and Mr. Terrific. They join Superman in fighting the creature. Green Lantern creates a ring construct to restrain a monster, while Hawkgirl launches her attacks. During the battle, Superman works to protect civilians, and Mr. Terrific plants bombs inside the creature's body, detonating them from within. This finally defeats the monster after a brutal fight, and no civilians are harmed. But just as the city celebrates, breaking news flashes on every screen. Luthor appears live, broadcasting Superman's full message from his parents. The second part of the message declares that humans are weak and foolish, and that Superman was sent to Earth to control mankind and rule the planet. This completely destroys Superman's image around the world. Everyone is shocked and begins turning against him. Superman enters a building, visibly shaken. Green Lantern and the team approach, asking if the message is real. Superman admits the first part is true, but he insists he never heard the second part because it was corrupted. Mr. Terrific explains that experts confirm the message is authentic and not fake. When they ask how Luthor obtained a message, Superman immediately flies to the Fortress of Solitude, realizing Luthor has been there. When he arrives, he finds the place destroyed. One of the robots is still functioning. Superman asks what happened and how Luthor gained entry, but the robot replies that it does not know. It tried to defend the fortress but failed. Then Superman notices Krypto is missing. He heads to Luthor's company headquarters and demands to know where Krypto is, but Luthor denies everything. Superman leaves. Meanwhile, world leaders gather to discuss the threats Superman poses to the planet. The president of Boravia gives an interview, claiming Superman entered their country to control the people and that he stopped the war with Jormber for hidden reasons. After the interview, the president goes to his office and opens a secret door that leads through a portal to Luthor. He meets Luthor, suspecting the message was forged, but Luthor assures him it is real and that Superman is a criminal who must be stopped. Meanwhile, Superman is at Lois's place, and she is surprised to learn he has a superdog. He tells her the aired message is not real and that he only ever heard the first part. He insists his parents did not send him to conquer Earth. They sent him to serve and protect humanity. He does not want to rule the planet. Lois says she believes him, trusts him, and encourages him to prove the truth to people. But Superman says he is going to surrender himself so he can find and protect Krypto, as he promised. The next day, he surrenders to Luthor's soldiers. They take him to a secret base in the desert and enter a time portal that leads to a parallel universe. There, Luthor reveals he built this prison himself, and that Superman will be held alongside a creature named Rex, who can morph into any element. Luthor orders Rex to turn his hand into kryptonite to weaken Superman. Rex obeys because Luthor is holding his son hostage. Superman finds Krypto in the same prison, along with many other people Luthor has captured. Meanwhile, the news reports Boravia's invasion of Jormber, which occurs just one day after Superman's imprisonment. Lois begins investigating Luthor's company and discovers they are selling weapons to Boravia at extremely low prices. She grows suspicious and wants to know why. Jimmy meets Eve, Luthor's girlfriend, who tells him everything because she likes him. From her, Jimmy learns Superman is being held in a parallel dimension under Luthor's control. He rushes to tell Lois. Back in the prison, Superman tells Max that he can save his son if Max removes the kryptonite and helps him escape. Max does not believe him and tells him to stop talking. The next day, Luthor arrives with Boravia's president and Malik, the man who once tried to help Superman during his fight with Hammer. Luthor threatens to kill Malik unless Superman answers his questions. When Superman refuses, Luthor executes Malik in front of them. Max and Superman are devastated and begin crying. Luthor warns Superman that he will return with another victim if he does not cooperate. Meanwhile, Lois goes to the Justice League and pleads with them to help find and rescue Superman. She insists he is not a criminal and that Luthor's claims are false. Green Lantern does not believe her and refuses, as does Hawkgirl. Lois leaves, disappointed. Suddenly, Mr. Terrific appears. He says he believes her and agrees to help. They board his ship and head to Luthor's military base to track Superman's location using a signal from his tracking chip. When they arrive, guards warn them not to come closer and threaten to shoot. Mr. Terrific ignores them. The soldiers attack, so he activates a protective shield around Lois and defeats all the soldiers with ease. Lois is amazed by his power. They reach the time portal. Mr. Terrific scans the gate and warns Lois that it is extremely dangerous and they may not survive. But Lois insists on going in. Meanwhile, Max asks Superman if he really can save his son. Superman says yes. Max then hides the kryptonite and uses sunlight to restore Superman's powers. Superman regains his strength, flies, rescues Max's son, and frees Krypto. He begins looking for a way out of the prison, but Luthor's soldiers suddenly attack. Superman falls into a river with Krypto and the boy. He tries to save them without harming Max's son. Max eliminates the soldiers and rushes to help. Together, they prevent Superman, Krypto, and the child from being pulled into a black hole. Superman exhales a powerful gust of air, and they all escape safely. Mr. Terrific and Lois arrive at the prison and manage to get out just before the portal is destroyed. Superman's body is weakened by kryptonite poisoning. Mr. Terrific tells him to rest and asks Lois to take him somewhere safe. He gives them his ship and stays behind at the military base. Max and his son leave as well. Lois takes Superman to his adoptive parents' house, where they are relieved to see him alive. Meanwhile, Jimmy speaks with Eve, who claims she has gathered all the information he asked for about Luthor. She sends it to him, but when Jimmy opens the files, they appear to be only pictures of her. Confused, he calls Lois and sends her the files. Lois realizes they are not ordinary photos. Hidden within them are Luthor's plans. Now Lois knows everything. She confronts Luthor, who discovers what happened and becomes furious about Superman's escape. He works to repair the destroyed gate and actually manages to fix it. Mr. Terrific tries to stop him, but fails. Suddenly, a huge crack opens in the ground as the gate expands outward. The next day, Superman wakes up looking better, and he sits outside with his adoptive father, who comforts him because he seems upset after hearing the recorded message from his biological parents. It turns out the message is real, and they had sent him to Earth to take over the world. But his adoptive father tells him it's not his fault, and that parents aren't there to control their kids or their decisions. They're there to help them shape their own choices. He tells Superman that he alone has the power to control his actions based on what he feels inside, and assures him that he's proud of him and that he's a good person. Then his mother comes and asks him to come quickly and watch the news, which is broadcasting the war between Boravia and the country of Gerendbor. We see a young boy raising Superman's flag and calling on him by name, asking him to come save them. Everyone is following the events, even the Justice League. Mr. Terrific contacts Superman and tells him he needs his help because there's a massive crack in the Earth that could destroy the entire world. Meanwhile, Lois and Jimmy are with their editor at the newspaper, explaining that Luthor made a deal with the president of Boravia to attack Gerendbor, just to distract Superman. The whole war was a trick to get rid of him. They show the editor all of Luthor's plans that Eva had sent, giving them proof to expose Luthor to the entire world. Mr. Terrific tries to stop the crack but fails, and it keeps growing quickly across the planet, destroying buildings. There's chaos in the streets. One building is about to collapse on a bridge and kill many people, but Superman appears just in time and saves them before it falls. Mr. Terrific tells him that the code to stop and seal the crack is with Luthor. Before Superman can go after Luthor, Hammer attacks him and Angela attacks Mr. Terrific. The impact is so strong that Mr. Terrific loses consciousness. Hammer and Angela then focus on Superman. At first, Superman is winning, but Luthor takes control of Hammer and manages to hit Superman hard. Angela also lands a powerful blow, releasing a toxic substance from her body that enters Superman's system. Luthor's equipment shows that the substance is starting to fill Superman's lungs and that he's close to dying. Superman flies upward, trying to purge it from his body, but Angela and Hammer chase him, attacking relentlessly until the substance takes over his body completely and he's nearly dead. Suddenly, he changes direction and crashes back to Earth at incredible speed. The impact kills Angela, and Luthor is furious. Superman, however, survives. The toxic substance leaves his body because Angela is dead and its effect disappears. Hammer also regains consciousness and removes his mask, revealing that he is an identical duplicate of Superman. That's how Luthor managed to enter the Fortress of Solitude, because he had another version of Superman. We learn that Luthor created Hammer from a hair Superman had lost in a previous battle, extracting his DNA to create a genetically identical clone. Even worse, Luthor ordered the president of Borovia to attack the people of Jerembor and kill the children there. Tanks roll into the area, ready to commit genocide against the population. Luthor controls Hammer again, who fires a beam at Superman and keeps attacking. Meanwhile, the Boravian army starts slaughtering the people. Superman seems defeated in front of Hammer, but he gathers all his strength, resists, and fights back. This time, he gains the upper hand. Elsewhere, the same little boy raises the Superman flag again, holding on to the last hope of saving his people. A soldier is about to shoot the boy, but a protective shield suddenly forms around him. The Justice League has arrived to save the people. Rex, who was in prison with Superman, arrives with them to help. He and the team disable all the weapons and stop the Boravian army with ease. When the president realizes he's losing, he tries to escape, but Hawkgirl catches him, throws him away, and finishes him off. Superman and Hammer continue their fierce battle. Hammer overpowers Superman, blasting him with I-beams. Superman calls for his dog, Krypto, who arrives and attacks Hammer. Superman gets back up and tells Krypto to destroy all of Luthor's cameras so he can't control Hammer as easily. Superman then fights Hammer again and finally overpowers him completely. Desperate, Luthor sends the Raptors team to attack Superman, but Superman's strength is overwhelming. He defeats them all effortlessly with his heat vision. Hammer attacks again, but Superman resists and punches him into a black hole, finally ending him. Mr. Terrific arrives, and together they head to Luthor to stop the crack that's destroying the planet. They attack the ship Luthor is on. Mr. Terrific heads to the device to shut it down while Luthor, full of hatred, tells Superman he's just an alien who doesn't belong. Superman yells back that he's no different from humans. He has feelings, love, fear, and makes mistakes just like anyone else. As he speaks, Krypto attacks Luthor and bites him, while Mr. Terrific successfully shuts down the crack and saves the world. The Earth returns to normal. Lois and Jimmy publish all of Luthor's plans, exposing his deal with Boravia's president to get rid of Superman and ruin his image. The news broadcasts everything and apologizes to Superman. The police arrest Luthor and send him to prison. The people of Jerembor celebrate the Justice League for saving them, and Rex officially joins the team. Finally, we see Superman back at the Fortress of Solitude, restoring it to its former state. He finds peace again as he watches his old memories. That's the end of our movie. If you watched till here, drop an emoji of what you see on the screen so I'll know how many made it to the end. All the film critics say the Superman team intended to reflect what's happening to our brothers but use fictional names. If that's really their intention, then it's a powerful way to let the world know the truth. That's it. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when I release the Fantastic Four movie. It's almost out. Hopefully, we'll be among the first to post it. And please do appreciate the effort by giving this video a like. It really makes a difference. See you in the next movie.